Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to Shadowverse story mode, solo story mode. Let's hop into it quickly because each one of these stories does really just drag on. We started with the Swordcraft Bunny and Baron, and frankly, them being aligned with any of the gameplay character styles is ridiculous because there's barely three, maybe four battles, and each character's story anyways. It is by far over two-thirds just dialogue chapters back to back. And in Bunny and Baron we bumped into Miser, and in Miser's story we got quite a lot of backstory for Selena. So now either Selena's perspective on the story is going to show us nothing new, or we're going to have to find out that she knows a lot more than she seems to hint at. We are, I think, following a magic bullet that seems to be moving around um, all over the place that I suspect will eventually show up in the final story over here, which I assume this is the final story, or at the next chapter completely. Um, but yeah, I'm not really expecting to see too much new with Selena other than just we're going to get her backstory on this world, which is frankly a fairly boring world in the fact that it is just this dusty frontier town world with three titans, and two of them show themselves to be particularly bad, and then Vincent doesn't seem to be that bad, but I suspect is. So, what you really would want to see is a case of Selena recognizing and knowing that Vincent is bad, or finding out that Vincent is bad. They keep mentioning wretches, and we've only seen one at all. It's just really ridiculous to have a visual novel story like this that builds up to a big conclusion but takes 8 hours to get there. Um, in a funny way, like, I think I've fairly learned my lesson to not really engage with visual novel style games. Like I've kind of pot committed myself to covering a trilogy, and I've done 2 out of 3 of those. But after that, I think unless it was one of the best games, something like Clannad, I don't think I'd ever cover it. And frankly, if I was going to do a visual novel style game, it has to have a really good story, and it probably needs to be fairly interactive with branching paths. It probably would be a romance dating life sim. It probably wouldn't be a sci-fi traveling to different worlds type story, because, well, that's not exactly true, because there is one of the top tier visual novels is traveling to different worlds in the name of love and romance, I think. I feel like since each of these characters' stories came out a few days, maybe a week, but after each other, it would make a lot of sense if you barely met any of the other characters in the first story, Bunny and Baron's, but then Bunny and Baron ended up showing up quite a lot in Miser's story, and now when we get to Selena's story, we should see a lot of. It would be nice to see a lot more of Bunny and Baron and Miser. That way, you can just have less scenes, which is these stories are overflowing with scenes of unimportant people talking to or having fights with the important people, and it just is pointless. It's just stretching out the story and wasting people's time. Like, I would want to see just a lot more action or a lot more card games. It is just really, really ridiculous that, like, we'll even look here. This one is not a battle. This one is a battle. Then no battle, no battle, no battle, then a battle. So it's like 2 or 3 chapters. Here we have Immaculate Salvation. This will potentially be maybe some backstory on the world as far as what. What? What happened here? Let's go ahead and hit the skip button. We may have hit a point here where they have not translated the language yet. Let's go over to more and go over to settings. And let's see. Subtitles and cutscenes. Other. Language. Text is in English, voice is in English. Okay. Well, we may just have to read the whole thing out. This was a danger I hadn't considered, that we may just be so early now with these new expansions that it takes them a few months to actually translate things. And that'll be interesting, I suppose, to hear that. Enable voice. We'll try it again. We'll see if that was a glitch or... Okay. Okay. So this does give me something to do then. And it lets us listen to the Japanese voice. The only other thing I could do is simply wait several more months to see the translation happen. I also wouldn't be surprised if this is just this one chapter and it's glitched. But it certainly does give us something to do now. If we're going to listen to the Japanese, we can keep an eye on the lip flap of the characters, which almost certainly I've seen times when characters' lips don't flap at all, when they're not saying any dialogue at all, or when there's tons of English dialogue. It makes a little bit of sense that in Japanese they often can make fewer sounds to say the same amount compared to English, but nothing at all is weird. We can also talk visually here. We have the completely out of character animation style for these kids, which that was true for the last kid we saw, not the robot kid, but the kid in the guild battle storyline. And we can once again point out how these kids have just very standard normal outfits that totally don't make sense to this nun's outfit. Like, this is she's literally supposed to be a nun, and it's just incredibly flashy. So in that case, they're saying yes. Hi is Japanese for yes. Most people would probably know that if you even know a little bit of Japanese. And you can see in how they've translated it to yes, Miss Selena. Alright, let's throw a pinch in. Let's throw a pinch in. Throw in a pinch of salt, and so she's cooking. I can also say Selena's voice, I think, is way better sounding in Japanese than the English translator voices, which I bet that's true for all of them. I would not be surprised one bit if the Japanese love this solo story mode, because in pure Japanese, they probably are nowhere as badly written and nowhere as badly translated. Let's see. That's what I call cooking. And then we have the abbess show up, and she stands out certainly. They're both in very, like, slightly over decorated outfits, but at the very least, this does kind of feel like what a nun or an abbess would wear, the head nun, as it were, where this totally does not make any sense at all. And of course, she stands out because she's not really being drawn as an anime type character. So she looks completely different. Also, she's the only character that, besides the kids, that doesn't have guns all over her. Something smells delicious. Let's see. And see, she just said sister, not abbess. Good afternoon, abbess. How are you feeling? That's kind of one of those examples where the English translation is actually shorter than the Japanese dialogue. Peachy, once I get some of that soup. That's the only thing you want? Goodness, I've seen hummingbirds eat more than you. Here, take some of this bread, fresh baked this morning. Like, that's totally different. That's, well, if she said all of that, she said it very fast compared to that. And see, hi is just yes again, so they've added dialogue. This is definitely taking liberties with the translation. At a certain point you call it censorship, at a certain point you just call it being inaccurate and translating. Here it seems like the English translators definitely are just adding more detail than they need, which inherently maybe is part of the problem here. Is if they had literally just translated hi as in yes, maybe you go yes please, but you probably shouldn't even add that. You definitely don't add if you insist, if that she doesn't say that. Then you would have fewer words, and then you probably would have a shorter experience. Yes, I'll partake once I help set up the table. And so she goes, which is probably best translated as all right. It's basically like an yeah, I agree. And there's a lot of emotion in the Japanese language as how things are said, so there is an argument to taking some of the emotion that you can hear if you understand Japanese and putting that as actual words, because that's not usually translated in English. Here we have Boisterous Boy is his name. Well, that sure looks good, Miss Selena. See, and now that's weird. This sentence. Can we eat now? My stomach's gonna eat itself. Now, if this is a Japanese phrase, my stomach's going to eat itself, you're not really localizing it and translating it to English properly, because that's not a phrase in English. It makes no sense. You would probably translate a phrase like that to my stomach's growling, or my stomach's been growling all day, something along that line. Or you just save time and say, can we eat now? There is also a point to mention here that if this was an anime, like a full animated thing where they had to get the English dialogue to occur in a certain amount of time, because unlike visual novels, if this was a video, you wouldn't have the pauses. then they definitely would have to change things and localize it and basically rewrite the entire dialogue to fit within the time. Either that or you get voice actors who are very good at talking very fast and speeding up when necessary. Ha ha, hold your horses. Not a crumb goes in those pie holes till you give thanks. And then they say yes again. And then their prayer here is gods. So polytheal gods, shadowed are thy names. Instead of hallowed be thy name would be the Lord's Prayer. But the world overflows with thy bounty. The world overflows with thy bounty, which I don't feel like is really true in this universe. And then the boy, we do not know hunger, for we are replete with thine love. Thus we believe in divinity and exalt thy names. Seems like a religion that definitely is praying directly to say we will only believe and exalt you if you fill our bellies. Which I suppose you're establishing your terms there. Alright, children, you may eat. And ikidakimasu is not thank you by any means. It is a very common Japanese phrase that is, I think, best translated down to let's dig in. Not thank you by any means. It's only said right before eating. Thank you would be arigato. Munch munch, this bread is sure is delicious. Thank Miss Selena. The soup's scrumptious too. We always appreciate your cooking, Miss Selena. What's funny here is we're also not getting any of the Western jargon here. So it almost feels like we have possibly a little direct to English translation that has happened as a first pass. And then somebody is planning on coming in here and doing the voice acting in English and rewriting the dialogue with the exacerbated amount of Western dialogue jargon. Okay, you rascal, stop sweet talking me. Use your jaws, those jaws for chewing. Okay, I guess that we might. Miss Selene, are you sneaking candy again? I see 3 whole pieces. Oh. This here is candy for grown-ups. So, what kind of candy is that? Like weed candy? LSD candy? Or is she just telling the kids that? And why is she sneaking candy? What? That's not fair. I wish I were a grown-up. That's quite enough. You're being rude to Miss Selena. And see, once again, they said hi, but they said it in a different way, and now that's being translated to we're sorry, when that's what it, once again, would have been literally translated just to yes. Which, I'm not trying to make an argument here that Japanese should always literally be translated to English. That does not make for a better experience for the vast majority of people. But you should at least get the concept across and try to be as honest and accurate as possible. At the very least, as the yes there should probably be in the sentence. So that might be a case where you go, yes, ma'am, we're sorry. Would probably be a great version there. But honestly, the miss and the ma'am here are not being used. We're not hearing any honorifics in the Japanese at all. as so far as I've heard, because there's no like samas, there's no chans, there's um, sensei. Like all of those would be Japanese honorifics you might hear used to describe different characters. Selena would probably have referred to her as a sensei, um, and the kids maybe would have referred to her as Chan or sensei also, or Sama. Like that, there is a phrase for old lady. I'm sure I don't know it off the top of my head. Miss Selena, could I get seconds? Me too, please. Of course, since you asked so politely, eat your fill. Woo. I feel bad always saddling you with the cleaning. You already do so much for us. No need to apologize, comes with the job. Almost feels like she's an employed, hired help instead of a nun. Well, duty calls, doesn't it? Speaking of which, here, all the information you need is in this letter. Now be careful out there. So she's some kind of secret assassin that's working for the church, or using the church as cover? Maybe. Of course, it's going to wear out my voice reading all this. She said like 2 words, and that turned into, please, you're talking to a tried and true professional. She probably just said, don't worry. And don't worry probably would have been closer to the right phrase to use. Well, I'll be off now. The sooner I get this sorted out, the better. The grace of the gods is with you. So, she's probably eating the candy to get magic abilities. I know. Oh, divinity is above, please guide her to glory. Guess we're gonna get to hear some of the average citizens and how varied their voices sound in Japanese. Yeah, and arguably the Japanese voices don't really match the faces any better than the English voices do sometimes. Gotta show mercy. You gotta show money for that. He's just shooting him without a gun. I sure earned big today. This is easier than stealing eggs from a blind duck. 2 or 3 shots and you get damn near the whole nest. That once again feels like you would want to localize this to easier than stealing from a baby, which is an actual phrase in English. Makes me wish I hadn't wasted my time on all of the 2-bit crimes. If I'd started big, well, I'd be making out like a wild hog in a fresh mud bath. Which once again isn't really English, and this is kind of one of the points where you can make a mistake localizing to English if your target audience is the West. Now, arguably, maybe English is not being targeted to the West and people in America and Europe. It could be that these English dialogue choices are specifically being targeted to Koreans and Chinese people and other Asians who speak English as a second language. And in that case, having phrases that would make sense to an Asian person that just doesn't happen to read or understand Japanese makes more sense. Any case, won't have to settle for spurred on today. Spurred on being the bar. I'm feeling kind of fancy. So, what is she doing? Running around killing bad guys? Huh? There's the target, alright. The trail of blood and sin on him is darker than night. This would be weird if all of a sudden she turns him into a wretch as a way of scaring the populace and driving them to the religion as a way of punishing bad people. Who are you supposed to be? Well, hello, I didn't realize I was talking to a right fine lady. You looking for company? Sinner, lift up thy face, for redemption is at hand. Huh? What are you babbling? So she has the ignite ability and apparently a trigger ability also. Gah. Thy wicked deeds shall melt away. And we get a custom art image, which honestly, maybe that's all we really need as a for these story modes. Is if they just want to make a promo image now and then, they should probably just make a promo image and drop the repeated content visually and the repeated dialogue anyways, leaving only a sweet blessing. Who do you think you are? Gods, shattered are these names, but the world teems with wickedness. We do not know repletion, for we are starved of thy love. Thus, divinity, thy name is ignorance. I shall be guardian to this forsaken world and scorch away its bleakest filth. So she's pretty much lost faith in the gods, which I think is fair enough considering the world they live in and situations they live in. And she's taking retribution into her own hands. And just shoots him. It burns, make it stop. Rejoice, thy heat is your penance. So, that heat is your penance. So, ignition obviously makes the bullets burn. We had already been kind of told that. But does that mean she's somehow shooting these people and not killing them? Or is she just killing them and torturing them? Do something. Do something, you freak. Shoots him again. God. My arm. It's melting off. And she says nothing and they don't put anything. That pain you're feeling is just a drop in the ocean compared to all the tears your victims have shed. Please, have mercy. It is really weird to have magic bullets that sometimes kill and sometimes just torture people. Mercy. I've got plenty of it packed right here in this bullet. No. Thou art a sinner lost in this godless world. Stop. I shall guide thee to eternity. I beg you, please. Like, honestly, if she was just gonna kill him, she should just kill him and not stretch it out. And being preachy about it is not better. Okay, fingers crossed. That's the only non-English part. And everything else has been translated, and that was just some weird glitch. Nope. Pew, glad that's over. Got about 7 days of shopping that needs to get done. We're back to the weird Western way of talking. Now, what am I going to make for dinner? Memory serves. Little place across the town is having a sale today. And I'm ready for a bargain. Well, if it isn't a sassy saint herself, how you doing, Selena? Blessed, now that I've seen you. So how's the shop life treating you? Keeping your family warm and fed? Sure, as I'm alive. But would you look at all the acroponic pumpkins I've got left over? You'd think Rivalian developed a squash allergy overnight. They do have mighty hard shells. Yeah, well, I'd take 10 gold apiece for them, long as somebody was willing to bite. Well, hello, Selena. Getting some shopping done? Yep, it really sucks to have to read all of this out loud. You betcha plan on cooking up casserole tonight? Casserole, are you trying to make my mouth water? Why don't you throw a couple of fresh greens in there? Make yourself a meal that's warm, nutritious, and organic. You know, we don't use none of these alchemicals. None of them alchemicals. Everybody and their granddaddy knows by now why you've been going on about it, the way you've been going about it. Well, how much do you want for them? Accounting for the quality and all, I'll sell them for 500 a bundle. Did you mean healthy greens or solid gold? We're practically giving them away as is. Can't do no more than this, I'm afraid, even for one of my best customers. So now they're trying to show, I suppose, just the economics of this world and how everybody's struggling to make a sale. I've got a proposition for you. Give me the whole bunch for 300 and I'll purchase all of your pumpkins. Well, I mean, they're more trouble than they're worth. Dulls your knife when you peel them, breaks your back when you chuck them. But it breaks my heart to see good food go to waste. Sell me those troublemakers and I'll save you a whole lot of grief. Now that's highway hold up done right. You could talk the clothes off my back. Once again, is that supposed to be a joke, or is that just poor translation, or is that direct literal translation? Fine, you bandit. They're all yours. Thank you kindly. You're carrying all these groceries yourself? Be jabbers. You ain't a pack mule. How are you going to get home before the old hay baker hits the horizon? Hay baker? Don't know that word. You know it ain't been safe out with Bunny and Bear and riling up the Icy's folks and rival going to the wretches. Appreciate the concern, but I can take care of myself. Robbed you two, didn't I? That's Selena, sharp as a porcupine behind. But fierce as a lioness. Rival best watch out for that one. I'm home. Welcome back. Did you take care of all of your errands? Yep, picked up some victuals for the evening. On the way home too. Victuals being a word for food. Archiponic pumpkins. Well, what looks like a whole pack of them. Well, why not? These are fine squash, every last one of them. And we're going to feast tonight. Now, if they have a hard shell, I figure you probably could boil a pumpkin with a hard shell open fairly easily. But I have no idea what an archiponic pumpkin is. It could be a Japanese style pumpkin from Japan, and it could be a completely different kind of squash. I suppose it doesn't really matter. They've got magic guns. They could probably shoot the pumpkins open. Well, you have to crack all those shells first. Let me help you. That's quite alright. Just a bit of heat and they'll slide out of their hides like the skin off a snake. Selena. At least they literally translated that. But no honorific there. At all. I know my heaven-sent powers must not be abused, right? But I ain't abusing them. I'm feeding the good people of this church. Listen, all I'm saying is you need your rest. Go take a nap and I'll have dinner ready before you know it. This casserole is just right. But you, on the other hand, need some salt. Yep, that'll do. You already put out all the food. That was an odd transition there because it just kind of jump cut instead of fading out and fading in, which would have been better. Now just hold on a minute. I can explain. This one here is for... Oh, I know. No, you've got me all wrong. This extra plate here, I'm saving it for later. You just know how these kids get when they're hungry. They're just about gnawing on the floorboards. Miser didn't even cross my mind. Anyway, I had to make a lot. So she does seem to be secretly in love with Miser. See all those vegetables? They were 500 for the bunch, but I haggled. I told them I'd take all the pumpkins if they gave me the greens for cheap. But now I've got all these pumpkins, and what do you do when life gives you pumpkins? You make a whole lot of casserole. But not for Miser. Oh no. I wouldn't do that. Not for that empty-headed fool with a big cheap grin and dreamy eyes. So yeah, she has a crush on him and she's not capable of telling him that. See? Selena, I didn't mention anything about Miser. Me and my big mouth. That boy must be a miracle of nature, not realizing how you feel. Why, you've done everything short of propose. Already said. It isn't like that. And see, she's probably blushing, but frankly, it's a little hard to tell because the characters are zoomed out. I think I see some blushing. I'm also looking at this on the TV from 10 feet away, so that makes it harder to see. And they're just gonna break into the church and rob a church? Hand over your money. And don't make a fuss doing it now. This is a church. You must know that violence is. Shut up. Who do you think you're mouthing off to? Tell them who we are, Buns. So these people are going to pretend to be Baron and Bunny? Bunny and Baron in the flesh. Which we know this isn't Bunny and Baron, so if they were going to do this in the story, we should have seen this scene well before we saw any of Bunny and Baron's story. Unless they're going to try and tell us that this is Bunny and Baron and they're just using their magic to look like these ordinary scoundrels. And that doesn't make sense much either. Sigh. And right before dinner. Abbas, get yourself somewhere safe. Alright, but remember, we do not condone needless bloodshed. Yeah. Do I look keen on mopping the floors to you? No, you look keen on becoming a martyr. Give us what we want and you'll live to pray another day. Listen here. Urk. Y'all are Bunny and Baron, right? The mysterious outlaw is looking to take down Ishildredrig, whatever, his icy. That gives one the impression y'all would have the guts. Would have guts takes a mighty brave soul to challenge a Titan after all. But oh, didn't y'all just flinch? Yep, no guts and no clue. Ain't no one ever told you lay even a finger on this church and you'll bring misery and tumbling down on your head? You'll bring misery tumbling down on your head? Man, I'm not reading half of this right. You're bluffing. You know what happens to liars. Well, nothing too bad, I hope. For all y'all's sake. See, that felt like a very unnecessary chain of events just so we can have a fight. Settle down now. There's absolutely no reason for you to be hollering like that. My gun, it just went flying out of my hand. What kind of witchcraft is this? It's not witchcraft, it's called being a decent shot. Though I can't hold a candle to miser. Now go on. Get out of here. So, this does bring about an interesting question. Is Selena secretly feeding the candy and magic to Miser? Or is it just a coincidence that both of them can use magic pretty well? Or were they both taught magic when they were kids? It would be kind of funny if it turned out the only reason Miser has any magical ability whatsoever is because Selena was giving it to him. Ain't you gonna say goodbye? Goodbye, miss. And see, that definitely felt like a sequence that you would expect from something like a Pokemon cartoon where the bad guys, Jesse James, would have shown up. And I doubt nowadays that's even how Pokemon cartoon episodes go, but it definitely feels like that was just forced conflict for no reason. Outlaws ain't got a pinch of decorum these days. Did you see them off? Yeah, but I wish I could have chased their sorry butts straight out of Rydo. Newcomers like them have no right moving here. Not without learning our laws first. Interesting point here. Now that does seem to imply that Rival is just a city and not the entire world that we're on. I mean, what happens when they offend one of the Titans? These folks are hoping to be pioneers, not corpses and coffins. So I guess that also implies that the three Titans that run this city are not potentially even that powerful that they run the entire planet. So it could be that we defeat the three Titans and they are very much like the three Furies, and there is a Belphomet style bad guy on above them. Well, aren't you concerned for those bandits, Bunny and Baron? They call themselves? If those two were Bunny and Baron, then I'm queen of the world. Fair enough. Anyway, the townspeople insist the real ones don't steal from the poor. Oh, Rival just adores them. The way things are going, folks are going to be erecting statues soon enough. Let's just pray that my next cleanup won't involve two virtuous thieves, huh? The gods won't punish friends of the weak. So it does seem like either she's picking who they're attacking, or she is actually directly communicating with some gods that are telling her who to basically assassinate. You would know better than me. And they're like, what was that noise? We thought we heard a loud bang. Are you sure about that? 100%. It near exploded in my ears. Well, I bet the gods were napping and let out a few snores is all. Nothing to worry your little heads over. So run along now. Yes, Miss Selena, come on. I'm coming. Four words for what was just yes in Japanese by the girl. Now that all the commotion's over, I think I'll lie back down. There is something slightly suspicious on how much this old lady has to rest, but not that suspicious, really. Because you really don't want a character like this in the story. They're just not visually in line with the other characters. Take it easy. And I'm sorry for putting that bullet hole in the wall. Uh, that's just a spot of interior decorating. I'm sure the gods couldn't give a lick about it. That's why I was apologizing to you, Abbess. This entire world could fall to ash, and I'm sure no deity in the heavens above would give a single holy fart. Yeah, that's what I thought she was going to say the loud bang gunshots were to the kids, is that the gods were sleeping and they let out a fart. As a joke. Well, best start patching up that whole sigh. I spare thy sorry bandit butts. They can't even spare me change for repairs. Yeah, it definitely is slowing down the story quite a bit to have to read all of this out loud. I guess I don't have to, but I kind of want to. Phew, that should keep them fed for today. Sigh, only a matter of time before that dunderhead eats us out of house and home. Speaking of which, he should come bounding in right about now. So, it potentially ruins the idea that Miser might end up with Orisa now that we've seen this story, and clearly Miser should end up with Selena, or Selena should die tragically, or Miser should die tragically to spur the character development of one of the other characters. Now, what I just say, predictable as a cuckoo bird in a fresh wound clock. Well, simple as simple does. Look at what the cat dragged in. If this is about money, you're not gonna get another coin out of me. No, it's not about that. We've got a visitor from outside Rydo. I brought her to say hi. Hi there. And so Selena's reaction, I suppose you might take as slightly different now, because you've seen from her perspective that she's obviously in love with Miser, where it's possible, since you just see her in Miser's story at this point, that you weren't aware of that. Although, frankly, it's fairly obvious that that's what they were setting up. Something's fishy about her, and it ain't just her funny clothes. Have mercy. What's wrong? Is your stomach hurting? Look at him. I swear, every time he meets a pretty girl, his smile lights up and his brain goes dim. Of all the stupid... Come over here for a second. Ouch, don't pull so hard. But gives. I told you I'd get your money back. Of course you will, but that's not what this is about. Then what is it? Oh, sparks didn't fly with that fellow I introduced you to? So he's trying to set her up with dates, so he's completely ignorant. And that's why she kicked him. Girl. It's her, dingus. You don't think she's... You don't think she ain't off kilter or whatever? I don't. Maybe. Look at her outfit. The way she carries herself. Wow, this place is huge and beautiful. Never seen a gal dressed like that in all my days. And do you see what she's carrying? A bow? Exactly. Who carries a bow? Did you even bother to ask her why? Must have slipped my mind. And see, there probably is a decent amount of anime that goes like this, where there's just a lot of talking back and forth. And those anime shows tend not to succeed so well, at least in the Western markets, when they try to get translated. And often, I imagine, don't even get tried. They don't even try to translate them. And that's in part why, over the decades, anime has definitely gotten the feeling of being all about action and just visual flash and not so much about substance as much as it can be. I think a great example of that would be like the Gundam series of old. A lot of talking there, and even though the Gundam series does have a lot of fighting in it too, there are definitely a lot of high concepts and talking that had to be translated. If the Gundam series or Neon Genesis Evangelion was just talking with no action, almost certainly neither one of those series would have had any success at all in the West. Well, I reckon your mind's got more holes in it than Swiss cheese. Now listen, I've never been outside of Ryville, but I know there ain't many folks who still use basic contraptions. I see what you're saying. We're having some kind of shared fever dream, aren't we? Don't be an idiot. I just want you to recognize how peculiar she is. Fair enough, but I think she's a good person. You'd probably think Ices was a saint, assuming you ever met him. In any case. Hey, who's this weird lady? And in that case, I think they actually used Oni-chan as an honorific. I like your pretty cape. Can I touch it? Hi, kids. Well, you shouldn't automatically distrust everybody you meet. Give them time to mess up at least. So in this case, she called him baka, which is the standard Japanese word for idiot. Then, depending how it's said, could be a lot more insulting and less friendly. But often it is used in a more friendly context. So it's a little weird to not see the word idiot or even idjit if you were going to translate it to be more Western in this sentence. Instead, we get, I swear you're thick as rocks. This is rival. A healthy dose of distrust keeps you alive. So they are basically just writing their own dialogue. It's not accurate at all. You're getting 50-60% accuracy or to what a literal translation would be. You were different when we were kids, you know that? Feel free to shut up. Wow, do it again, lady. How did you make the air go all whoosh? Do you own the wind? Something like that. Watch close. What's funny is they give her this cape, and then they're talking about her using wind power to make the cape go up and down, and yet they can't even bother to animate that because it would be such a waste of animation budget. Oh. Hey, quiet down in there. We're trying to have a serious talk. Sorry. Dot dot dot. When did we get to be like an old married couple? Let's drop this. Almost time for lunch anyhow. Oh boy. Care for Marissa and I join you? And then here she calls him an idiot again and she goes, do whatever you want. That blockhead is going to be the death of me. And here in that you could see her call him an idiot twice. In Rival, you can't even trust your neighbors, and yet he lets this oddball roll in from who knows where, and she called him an idiot again. She's definitely jealous. Don't let it get to you, Selena. And don't you dare start thinking about how she's pretty as a kitten with her shiny locks and big dewy eyes. No, that buffoon ain't worth it. and yet here I am still feeding him. Who's the fool now? Yep. Lunch is ready. Come and get it while it's hot. Yeah. Miss Selena, what about the plate over there? It's got more meat than mine. Might I have it, Miss Selena, please? Whoa there, hands off, you barbarians. That's for our guest. Don't look at me like that. Of the three of us, I think I've got the biggest reason to be disappointed. Phew, I'm stuffed. Man, this is a very, very long conversation to literally just have a meal. So what did you think? It was really good. Right, she's the best cook in all of Rydo. Talk me up, why don't you? You're just used to the flavor. Hush up, modesty doesn't suit you. Let's try and burn through this. Oh, you watch that lip. Ouch. Hey, you two are good friends, huh? You could say that. We've known each other forever. Never been able to get rid of them. You love me, admit it. You make me miss my friends. I'm actually searching for them now. Maybe we've seen them. What are their names? So there you hear every single main character she refers to with a son honorific, except for Luna, who is younger, with where they go the Chan honorific. Do any of these names sound familiar? Afraid not, Selena. You know any of them? Sorry, can't say I do. I thought so. That would have been too good to be true. Just try to burn through all this real fast. Oh man, all alone in the world like Rival. That must not feel great. Have no fear. You've got the city's best deputy on your case now. Well, we'll find those friends. Youch. I know how you love to fix every crack in the road, but you've got to eventually make it across the street to get to anything accomplished, miser. But she's in trouble. It's okay, thanks for your concern, but I'll be fine on my own. Sorry, Arissa. Wish we could help, but... Miser, I've been looking all over for you. What's the matter? It's the outlaws you bagged this morning and afternoon. They've coughed up some pretty dirty news that you ought to hear. Need you back at the station. You've got it. There goes Miser from the store. Sorry y'all, duty calls. Wait, what do you want me to do with... You'll figure it out later now. And so now she's particularly peeved. There is definitely some weirdness with the release structure that Shadowverse has decided to go with. They're releasing the story, but only in Japanese. They release cards, and sometimes the cards only have the Japanese audio. But then there's a whole nother episode that's been released and written. That's the finale. And yet that probably is going to be in Japanese too. I think I'd much prefer for the global release for them to either have the English audio available or just label it in some way and say this is Japanese only for now, or translation in progress. It kind of sucks to have to admit that you're a little bit slow in your translations, but either you do that or you withhold the expansion for the English speaking world, and they don't want to do that because this is one of the few collectible card games that when you are playing multiplayer, you very well are possibly playing against Japanese people or people from all around the world, so there are no staggered releases. Wait, did he really just up and leave? Hmm. Hmm. You could drive a steam engine through this silence. Oh heavens, it's so awkward. I can't even look at her. Could I have seconds? Huh? She wants to extend this torture? Is she trying to be polite? But then, why is she smiling like that? Like she completely trusts me. It's eerie how much you remind me of Miser, you know that? But yeah, that whole chapter was kind of nothing. Yeah. Might as well just not download the audio at this point. It would be faster. That was delicious. My mouth has never been happier. What have you been eating your whole life? That meal wasn't anything special. Actually, I can't cook, but I think people who can are amazing. How do you make something taste that good? Orisa, right? Yep. Did you say where you were from? No, so this is gonna sound crazy, but I came from a different world. Come again? I'm not very good at explaining, but my friends and I are chasing after these things called the Keepers. We've had to cross several worlds so far. Before arrival, we visited this beautiful place called Natera, and before that there was Isunia, land of the guild. Which I guess that directly points out that she knows that Neteria was seemingly the same land in the future and the past. She's a few arrows short of a quiver. But does she actually expect me to believe she's a bona fide world hopper? Sorry, but I ain't buying it. That's okay, I know it's hard to believe. I'd feel the same way if I were you. In fact, I still haven't wrapped my head around it either. But you let me into your home and fed me. I'm very thankful. Don't mention it. We had the scraps to spare. You and Miser are so nice. Miser's just a big old softy, though I can't say for sure if he's soft-hearted or just soft in the head. Really, I thought Miser seemed considerate. You think? I guess it's how he looks at people. He has this steady gaze, like you can tell he's strong, and also that he really cares. It gives me a warm feeling. So, sorry if that sounded weird. Well, seconds. Like I said, scraps. But I'm eating a lot. You really don't mind. Yeah. So good. I think I like this one even better. Strange little stray. But she means no harm. So did Miser tell you about Rival? Actually, why am I even asking? Boy's got more words in him than lip on a platypus. Yep, he told me about the Titans and how to balance the power, and how they balance the power in this place. Reminds me of Isunia. They had 5 guilds, all in charge of different things. That is, until the falling out. What happened to this Isunia? There was a war. We managed to put a stop to it, but a lot happened, and a lot of people died along the way. Yeah, I guess that did happen, and this story has just been moving forward and since then, so there really has not been any time to look back and go, oh yeah, what happened in Isunia was pretty terrible, and what happened in Neteria was pretty terrible too. pretty much everywhere they go, terrible things happen. Not their fault, of course. That's a real shame. Let's say we steer away from the doom and gloom for a few ticks. You hear how Rival came about? No, I don't think we got that backstory. Nope, not yet. Could you tell me? Wouldn't have brought it up if I couldn't. In the beginning, Rival was an empty plane. Does that mean universe, world, or just area? There's no life. There were no forms. All there was a single stone. Onto this plane, a god alighted. Out of this grand nothing they made life, but life is fragile, so to watch over their creations, they split into 3 entities. These 3 demigods then built the Rival we know and love today. So the argument is either a keeper or a god created Rival and then split into 3, which then makes an interesting argument that perhaps we will beat each of the 3 titans, and that will be the equivalent of getting powerful enough to potentially take on Nexus or Nerva. Now, the descendants of these beings still walk among us. We call them the Titans. So I guess the demigods were not the original Titans. That's right. But it seems like there's always 3. None of them have multiple children. Or no children. That's right. Anywho, it's a good tale to pass the time. Whether it's true or not, well, that's for you to decide. You don't think it's true, do you? Now, why would you say that? I don't know. Just had a feeling. But I believe it. I think that God was one of the keepers. Are keepers such mighty beings? Yes, my world was put into a deep sleep by a keeper, Nexus. And one of my allies, Yuan, his world was destroyed by another keeper, Nerva. Wait, let me get this straight. You've been hopscotching across the worlds to trap yourself some gods? Yes, so we can fight them. There's a funny point here, because at the end of the previous episode, they said, Yuan said he put a tracking spell on Nerva, which then does kind of make the argument that Orisa either failed to follow the tracking spell completely, or she was the only one that succeeded in following the tracking spell, or there's multiple, like, keepers or Nervas out there. Haha. Did I say something weird again? See, Gomi Masai is an apology. I'm fairly certain. No, that ain't it, Orisa. I just can't believe I'm gonna come out and say this, but sorry I doubted you. Huh? The way you said you were fighting gods, the force of your conviction, it hit me like lightning. Much as my brain wants to disbelieve your words, my gut's telling me different. Maybe that's because I'm fighting gods too. Not with guns or bows or arrows like you, but I'm standing up to them all right. Is it hard for you? Harder than you could imagine. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't like to see people struggle. So whatever you're going through, Selena, whatever this world is going through. Sorry. I should get going soon. I feel bad sticking around for so long. Thanks for the dinner, though. Anytime. I hope you find your friends. Thank you. Oh, and Selena. And see, she's using the honorifics, the Japanese honorifics, and just kind of nobody else is. Which then brings about the question as to why are these characters speaking Japanese in the first place if they're not going to use the honorifics? Why not originally record them in English? But it would be a hard argument, I think, to say that Shadowverse is so much more popular outside of Japan that you should neglect the first market and your first focus of Japan, because I just don't think that's the case. Oh, and Selena, I'm not super strong or anything, but I promise I will do everything I can to save your world. So give me a chance, okay? Thanks again. See you. And it definitely feels like we're just going to get a lot of talk here. And the nun lady was just completely missing in that entire section. Marissa, huh? And then we get the immediate flashback. Yes, my world was put into a deep sleep by Keeper Nexus. And one of my allies, Yuan, his world was destroyed by another Keeper, Nerva. Wait, let me get this straight. You've been hopscotching across the worlds to trap yourself some gods? Yes, so we can fight them. That was powerful. It was like I blinked and I found myself face to face with a tiger. I just hope Miser is careful. She ain't some helpless little critter, that's for sure. So, the bullet, she had given it to Miser, and Miser dropped it, I suppose, and it seems like it very much magically is been imbued to be dropped by every character, and maybe the idea is that every main character in the different stories is supposed to touch this bullet and somehow imbue it with its power, or with more power. So now Selena has the bullet, and so either she's going to use it, which I doubt, or the Portalcraft character will. This is where Miser was sitting. Typical. That man would forget his head if it wasn't screwed on right. I think I'll keep it. He owes me anyway. Apparently she knew of the visitor, but didn't bother to interact with him. As our visitor left, gone with the wind. Good. And wait, let me guess. I've got more cleaning to do. Maybe she is a keeper and she was hiding away from Marissa. Yes, Selena. We've got a package from Vincent. The sweets are for you. So Vincent is secretly sending out hit lists to keep law and order and murdering bad guys and having her do it. And the candy are coming from Vincent, possibly giving her magic. 5 whole pieces. That is a lot. I mean, what I think it means, or does it mean what I think it means, or is Vincent just feeling generous? Now's not the time for your sass. The wretches are back. That letter will tell you more than I can. Alright, better take this show on the road then. And don't touch the dishes while I'm away, Abbess. I'll wash them after I come back. Very well. And Selena, don't let your guard down. You'll have to carry out a grave sentence soon. We've received word that Icy is investing in rather unsavory rituals. Well, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. The grace of the gods is with you. Yeah. So there is magic in the candy. This sure didn't get easier. But somebody's got to stand up for the gods. Up to the gods. So, yeah, we kind of knew Vincent had to have been somewhat of a bad guy in some way, although it doesn't seem like he's really sending her to kill good people. If anything, he's just assassinating bad people, which in a frontier town, hanging people would have been normally common. And see, then you have like this whole flashback stuff that is new content, but honestly, you could easily make the argument to simply skip it. Just hit the skip button and jump to the next chapter. Don't ask me why I fell for him. I wonder the same thing myself. Let's try to just burn this. I can tell you my life story, but it ain't much. One more rivaling tragedy. Grew up on the streets cause to mama and papa I was just a mouth they couldn't afford to feed. Never considered myself unfortunate till the kids around me got old enough to learn cruelty. Yep, one day they beat me blue and called me unwanted. The me now? What is that? The me now would knock them down so hard they ricocheted off the core of the earth, but back then all I could do was cry. I wanted a home, so as the bullying got worse, I started to think if I didn't fit in down here, maybe I'd be better acclimated for heaven. But things changed after Prince Charming appeared. Now he didn't have no titles, no money or a house. We were alike in that regard. All he owned was his big smile that sat on his face like a jewel in a crown, or at least he acted like a knight. Cheer up, Selena. I'll take care of you. Come hell or high water. And see, in this flashback, is Miser going to sound like a kid or just Selena? Because once again, I feel like that sounded just like Miser. Really? I'm not really hearing a big difference between Miser as a kid versus Miser as an adult. Maybe there's a little bit of a difference there. Yes, I'm gonna be a lawman and protect darn near everybody. Whereas Selena sounds completely different, maybe even a different voice actor. Alright, you better hear. I can still see that scrawny back glowing in front of me. He shielded me when no one else would, but I bet he don't remember it that way. I am, and will forever be crazy about him. Sometimes I even get jealous of the dirt under his nails. I want to stay near him so bad. But Rival doesn't believe in happily ever afters. So time passed, and we got older, and then the abbess started teaching us magic. So the abbess taught him both magic, acceleration, and ignition. These techniques had trickled down for generation to generation, and we were next in line. It wasn't until later on that I learned what the magic was for. See, this is supposed to be a flashback, but all the characters look the same age. Selena, we're servants of the gods. This church was raised from the dust of rival, so we may do their work. From our ranks, we must choose one executioner to bear the church's burdens. By the sweat of their brow, we are blessed. Do you understand, child? Executor. More like executioner. Our church exists to scum off the surface of Riverdale. Every generation, one unlucky child is picked to be a hitman, and the next on the list was me or Miser. The abbess asked me first, would you accept this calling? Well, does a heart want to love? What are you waiting for? Sign me up. See, Miser had dreams that were bigger and grand. I just wanted to see him happy. So she takes the fate of being an executioner so Miser can be the good guy and the sheriff deputy. Fate had whisked us down different paths, but I was content. My flame shall scorch away sin. And probably skin, in all fairness. Honestly, it feels like these romantic, tragic backstories would have been much better merged with Bunny and Baron's backstory. And then you would have had better character development between a Bunny and Baron. Yeah. I don't know if there really needs to be different characters. Because it could have been a flashback, flash forward situation where Miser and Selena turn into Bunny and Baron. Or it could be a split personality thing where Selena falls asleep and then she turns into Bunny and Miser falls asleep and turns into Baron. Or it could be that they just have that secret life where they rob the rich while acting as a nun and a lawman. That would have been fine too. My flame shall scorch away sin. Only took a simple oath. And that was it. I was a divine assassin. They send me sweets. When it's time for a killing, I ignite them, melt them into bullets, and then load them and accelerate them straight in sinners' hearts. Interesting. So, instead of there being bullets that Icy potentially could steal with his magical powers, they're making different kinds of bullets in the form of candies, which seems like an extra detail that's unnecessary. When the flames reach you, they don't just burn, they melt you down until there isn't even a speck of ash, and almost certainly create the wretches in that process. All that lingers is this sweet smell. Guess it makes sense, seeing as all that talk of redemption's no more than honeyed words. And here we were saying she killed a lot of people. You could measure my years and how much blood I burnt. I am stuffed to the gills with surfeit of amber ash. With a surfeit, I don't even know what a surfeit is, of amber ash. Of course, candy is ruined for me now. A tiny whiff will set my head aching. But the executions weren't enough to keep me awake at night. I'm no killer. I'm no more than a puppet. Divinity pulls the strings. Divinity pulls the trigger. Now, why'd I let them use me like that? Was it because I loved the gods, feared them? As if didn't matter what happened to me, I had someone I wanted to protect. And here we have Miser. Selena, what do you want, Miser? Selena? I'll never get why you're constantly shouting. I've always been by your side. Happy as a lark too, though I might not always sing as sweet. So happy, in fact, I forgot something important. Rivals sits plumb under a cloud of misfortune. Howdy. Miser, what are you doing here at this time of day? Just felt like seeing you. This feels like a dream. Honestly, all of these flashbacks for each episode could very well have just been more dream sequences from Nexus, but it doesn't seem like that really is the case. Did you get hit over the head? Oh wait, is this one of your pranks? What's wrong? You're as pale as death. So this is the time that Miser shot the old lady on accident? Funny, you should say that. Because I'm a killer now. In a small town like ours, rumors spread like wildfire. All it took was a few hours and everybody knew. Miser had shot a hostage. Of course, it wasn't on purpose, and it sure as hell wasn't his fault. A child could see that, but Miser. I could keep explaining to him, but I couldn't understand for him. The more I struggled to bring him back, the deeper he sunk. He wouldn't have been able to tell by the look on his face, but in the shadow of his grin, guilt was flaying his very soul. For what? What led to this? Where did he go wrong? Miser never strayed. He was a good man who followed his dreams, and along the way, he saved countless people. He's done his part. If y'all are up there, it's time to do yours. Please help him. And just like that, I prayed. Every morning and every night, I thought of Miser and prayed. Then I'd wake up the next day, and nothing would have changed. Spring turned to summer, and summer into fall. But I kept beginning till it was nothing more than a mess of hope, despair. Please, I'd say. Please, 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 please. Then one dawn, I opened my eyes, and I looked up at the sky and saw. We're all alone, ain't we? Rival sure ain't no guardian paradise. More like a profane heap of rocks and despair. And if y'all truly don't exist, that means these killings ain't sanctified in the least. I'm a murderer. Was it an all empty talk? Was it an all a bunch of cow pie? See, and when you have such a, like, this is a really emotional, important bit of conversation. It just does not make sense to an English native speaker to throw in the jargon like cow pie at this point. Because that's flippant kind of comedic dialogue in a sequence where you should just drop all of that and have as simplistic, normal English as you can have. It sure was. There ain't nothing above, and there's blood on my hands. Just thinking on it made me sick. I puked my guts out, but I still felt filthy because I was fed lies. But as the tears melted my vision into a muddle of color, a single thought swarmed up. Maybe it ain't so bad after all. Because if Miser's a killer, now we're in the same boat, speeding toward the same demise. More importantly, if there ain't gods deliberating in the sky, but I'm still passing judgment, doesn't that make me judge, jury, and executioner all in one? Don't get me wrong, I don't want power any more than a pig wants a silk waistcoat, and I certainly ain't more qualified to be a moral compass. But now, I could give Miser what he wants. I'm not an ambitious woman. I don't need titles or money or a fairy tale ending. I just need to be there for him. Miser's always saying there's greater forces out there, benevolent and just. He believes in them feverishly, because, well, he wants divine retribution. And seeing as how the clouds are empty, I'm the only one who can judge him. We ain't anything more than moots of dust floating in space. But if I can make difference in this one man's life, then there will have been meaning to my existence. When guilt corners him and he has nowhere to turn, I'll be there. I'll take on each and every one of his crimes and I'll burn them away. I'll burn them all. Don't you worry, Miser. When the walls start closing in, I'll be the one to set you free. So she's saying she's basically going to kill him because of his own desire for self-punishment. Man, and it's an hour and 30 minutes, and having to read all this has definitely slowed down the progress of the story. And I don't know what more of Selena's story we really are going to hear, because we kind of know Vincent is manipulating her, and so she probably needs to fairly quickly figure out that it is Vincent who's manipulating her. She already knows that, and so something needs to trigger her decision to then decide to take out Vincent. And I don't think she will do that until she either takes out Not, who seems to play basically no role in this story at all, or Icy. And we shall just see how this gets to that point. This is where they're supposed to be sighted, but is she going after Baron and Bunny? There ain't nothing but dust and tumbleweed. Doggone it, I am hopeless at this old-fashioned tracking. If they gave off body heat, I could sense them at least. But at this rate, I might as well just lie down right here and wait for one to trip over me. How chilling. So apparently this girl might be summoning the wretches. Which is going to be weird because we're going to play as this girl later on, so how can she be a bad guy? Unless she just has the ability to summon wretches to do some grander purpose. Guess, speak of the devil. They've got a woman cornered. Damn it. Well, I did not think it was that case. Maybe the wretches do have her cornered. What? Hey, you hurt? Question mark, question mark. Not a scratch on you. Well, thank you, lucky stars. What do I have to be thankful for? So did she just try to attack her with, like, magic or a scratch or what? Are you Icy? Apparently she doesn't even know who Icy is. Something's freaky about her. Makes my skin crawl. Same way a wretch does. What are you trying to get at? And who do you think you are? I'm called Ilaganu. Are you familiar with the name? Not at all. But let me give you friendly warning, Ilaganu. Don't pull anything funny. Be a real shame if I'd had to carve that pretty name of yours onto a tombstone. Is she shaking with fear? Oh. But why? I said no funny business. Why? I was speaking to my friends about death and the end. Grr. I want vengeance. I feel a dry heat in my mind. Is this fury? Are you the enemy? So clearly Ilaganu has like mental understanding problems. Why won't you answer me? What the hell is going on? Are you evil or am I? I don't know. Do I look like a confessional to you? Am I guilty of sin? I don't know. You could be a wolf in sheepskin or a lamb in wolfskin. It's all the same to me. She very well may be a keeper's proxy that has broken away from being influenced by a keeper. All I know is that I have orders to kill me, a wretch. Let me be clear. I don't have a clue who you are, and frankly, spooky. I don't give a damn. All I know is that the gods want you dead or alive. dead or alive. Sinner, lift up thy face, for redemption is at hand. Ignite, trigger. Your wicked deeds shall melt away and leave only a sweet blessing. God, shadowed in thy names, thy world teems with wickedness. We do not know repletion, for we are starved of thine love. Thus, divinity, thy name is ignorance. It shall be a guardian for a forsaken world, and scorch away its blackest filth. These key phrases are certainly very anime-esque in that you just spout this oath over and over again. And yeah, it does not really play in what is supposed to be a collectible card game. It's so insane that this exists, this storyline, and it has basically minimal connection to the collectible card game. Are you a guardian angel? Well, I sure ain't yours, but I will purge those sins, come heaven or high water. And I guess that would have been a fight. So, ignite, trigger, and then Haven Fire. Maybe that was supposed to be Heaven Fire. And seemingly it didn't work. Heat. I am burning. So this is what it is to burn. I remember. It'd be funny if this turns out to be Nerva and she's been cast down. Like, she kinda does look like a keeper in that all the keepers have like this ridiculous amount of stuff happening behind them, and we see a ridiculous amount of stuff happening here. So this is what it is to burn, I remember. Just, that was a direct hit. How is she still standing? You take lives. So did I. Seems like the only path at the time. It seemed like the only path at the time. And again, ignition, trigger, heaven fire. She's real tough for a walking corpse. Ain't melting, ain't crumbling, heck, not even a whimper. I ain't never seen anybody like her, human or wretch. What are you? I am still searching for myself. You know nothing. They were innocent folks, though we were speaking of terrible things, things that made me shiver. He had a child. She made mistakes. Then you came in and shot them. It almost makes her feel like she's speaking to the dead like a Necrocraft, Shadowcraft character, but she's a Portalcraft character. So, honestly, it wouldn't make a lot of difference if they gave her 2 hero classes. I'm about to lose my damn mind listening to you. I only wanted the conversation. Do you people speak with nothing but your guns? Just shut your mouth. Got her straight in between the eyes. Gonna be awfully hard to get up with your brains on fire. What kind of unholy fire does it take to burn you, devil? Perhaps I survived because I was the chosen. That is what Ishtar said. Chosen by a god named Earstar. Ha, never heard that one before. Was it Ishtar or was it Eastar? Maybe Easter. Look at that sorry state you're in. Even if greater forces existed, which they don't, and if you were meddling, which they ain't, and if they were meddling, which they ain't, This ain't a blessing. This is divine retribution. Retribution. Then a lot of shuddering and attacking. Gah. Retribution. Why does it ring so familiar? Retribution. Such a heavy world. Must I make retribution? Eat this. If she only had like 5 candy, she's shot more than 5 shots at this point. Is it only proper that retribution follow vice? Or nothing's working. But if I must make retribution, did I transgress in some way? She does feel like she might be a keeper of retribution. Questions. Can't you make up a half-witted opinion on your own? Out of bullets. Well, see, she still probably has that one magical bullet. So if she uses it now, we'll see what happens. Damn it, I best beat a retreat, or I'll be pushing up daisies. If you are a guardian angel, illuminate my path. Show me who I really am. Back off, Spooky. I can't show you diddly squat. I got no more candy, but all I need is a moment's distraction. I'll be out of here before she can say toodles. I could play my ace, but... Hold on now. I've still got that bullet miser tucked away right here. Just magically shows her. It magically shows up in her hand. When I hit her in the head, she froze for 2 blinks. Alright. It's do or die, Selena. Look, I can't light your way for you. You want to find your place in this world, find somebody who understands your sin. Sin. Well, this little cat fight has been a real charming, but it's over now, because I ain't passing to the other side without my man. Lights out, beast. And so she hits her in the head, and either this bullet is just a regular bullet, or it's going to do something like really crazy. Someone who understands my sins. Pant. What was up with that bullet? When I fired, I could have sworn. No, calm yourself, Selena. Focus on getting back to the church. The abbess will want to hear about what happened. Who could it be? Who knows sin like mine? See, now we're just getting teased the next character's story more than Selena's story. And it's just 5 megabytes tells me there's a ton of dialogue here. And we kind of know where the story is just going to go. It's all going to end at basically the same point as the other 2 stories. Pant. I'm always griping about all the people I have to kill, but leaving a job undone just doesn't sit right. Not to mention, I still don't know what she was. And see, here we have this fortune teller lady who, she may be a keeper too. Oh my, are you hurt, Buttercup? And she definitely stands out because she has this like deep purplish blue appearance that only maybe matches Vincent's appearance, but not even really that. And she does kind of feel like she might very well be a keeper in disguise. Just a few scratches, that's all. Well, if that's a scratch, I would hate to see what a gash looks like. Hold still now. There, right as rain. Sure hope I'm wrong, but you ain't gonna start babbling about being from another world now, are you? My, what brought this on all of a sudden? In the neck of the woods, anyone who wanders around black and blue is bad news. If you were a Ryvillian, you would have kept your head down and kept walking. Bless your troubled heart. I promise you I'm only acting out of goodwill. Sorry. A strange girl filled my head of talk of deities and distant lands, and I guess it got to me. Not to mention I ain't seen your face before. I must sound crazy as a starved parrot right now. Forget it. Thanks for the help. Anytime. But that wound of yours was mighty strange, if you don't mind me saying. Well, the one who gave it to me was a mighty strange, stronger and more mysterious than the wretch. She was. Mercy me, I've heard of wretches. Great beasts, aren't they? Crawled out of who knows where not too long ago. She very well making the wretches. Yeah. No one can say where they came from, and no one can say where they're going. Why the same could be said for humans, Buttercup. You know, it's not every day I meet a bright young thing like yourself say, why don't you let me peer into your future? We also have hit a point here where even though a large majority of characters are just unimportant repeated characters, the main characters here are getting a little long. There's no less than 6 important characters, and then secondary characters of the Abyss and the Children, and then the 3 Titans, which then gives you another 8 in total on top of the 6. So you're like 14 characters that are important, plus the assassin guy that works for IC that gets you to 15. Yeah, 15 characters in a story is a lot. Don't worry, I'm an honest-to-goodness fortune teller, but I hope that wasn't too obvious, given my shimmering air of mystique. Appreciate the offer, but I'm gonna have to pass. As far as I'm concerned, nothing controls my destiny. And is that because you don't believe in the divinity? Well, I do declare. What's your name? Call me Flowesy. Flores. I don't know how you'd really pronounce that. Never heard of you. Like I thought you ain't from around here. Buttercup. I'm just like the sky. Always been a part of this town, as I've always been a part of every town. I am nowhere and everywhere at once. Interesting. You may notice that the mouse is moving back and forth between the left and right. That's literally because I'm tiring my finger clicking forward. And there's nothing I can't see from on high. So why don't you do us both a favor and lose the act? Come on now, how are you going to shoot a gun with no bullets? What are you? Oh, let's not fret over little old me. That information is of no use to you right now. A spot of fortune telling would serve you much better. What do you say? You ain't leaving till I watch your parlor trick, huh? Fine. Today has got to be the worst day ever. Well, what's the life without a few storm clouds? Now, let's see what's on the horizon for you. When the time is right, pull the trigger. Only then will rapture fall from the clouds. He seems you might get that happy ending after all. However, let's just say there's a few dragons between you and the prize, Buttercup. Your worst day ever might just get worse. So apparently Dragon Spear is going to show up at some point. Didn't think that was possible. Anything is possible. Time has come for me to bid you adieu. Now, whatever will that bullet end up, the choice is yours to make. So, how is she gonna get the bullet again, or a new bullet? Or is that bullet that she shot, did it just like bounce off the other character's head, and is it on the ground? Well, she was loopier than a long-stemmed lasso. Reminds me of Arissa. Trying to understand the both of them is like trying to flip an hourglass without sand. No point. Wonder if everybody in the other worlds is like that. Sigh, heaven help me, I couldn't take another one. Now, business time. Where's this dang garrison supposed to? Huh? And see, this is funny because either there were multiple bullets that the fortune teller handed out, or Bunny was given a different bullet and it's going to magically end up on the ground or end up in the pocket of Selena. Huh? That's what I get for asking the skies for help. And who are you supposed to be? Took the question fresh out of my mouth. What kind of bandit goes around dressed like a nun? Again, is this really how nuns dress in this universe? I guess it is. Well, she might be bristling with guns, but she ain't baring her fangs at me. Sorry I snapped at you. It's been a day, but I mean you no harm. Oh, I like the sound of your fiddle. I'll leave it to you now. Just, I wouldn't go down that way if you catch my drift. Interesting, so that isn't the direction of the garrison, that's the direction of the other character. Well, like Selena, we're gonna get back to church, and before you know it, this day will all be over. We met some real oddballs today, but we ain't gonna think about that. Gonna focus on keeping our sanity. And you know what? We can start by not talking to ourselves. Shoot, I'm really tired. Right, on cue, here it comes. The miser mirage. Whoa. Damn my luck. How am I supposed to beat this freaky zombie monster? Wait, that's a real miser. Well, what's a wretch doing after him? I thought I'd killed them all. Darn, I hate it when fortune tellers are right. Fine, I'll hunt me some demons, but after that, home. Of course, she has no bullets at this point, so how does she shoot the demon? Man, this is just incredibly slow. An hour and 53 minutes we've been going, and we still have 3 chapters because I'm reading it out. Miser, miser, we kind of had seen this part. Eep. I could smell the breath on this one. At least I've got the room to hightail it out now. Arg. But what if it goes after somebody else? Darn it, Sheriff. I can't do that. So is it curtains for me then? This is not how I wanted it to go. So she does ignite, trigger, haven fire, and just like punches him, which kind of does prove that you don't actually need the guns. Pant, pant. Phew, miser. Might like you to accept a dance partner. Selena, thank you for your luck. My lucky britches for you. Look at him grinning. 2 winks ago he was backed up against death's door and couldn't even draw his gun. Maybe you should thank me instead of your pants, you numb gun. You could have died. Sorry, I am grateful. These damn wretches are popping up like daisies all of a sudden. Best avoid back alleys and dark places if you know what's good for you. How do you know so much about them? Called common sense, doof. See, and when she said mana, that probably is just, I don't know, would be a more literal translation. I don't even want to really talk about the bad translation at this point. We've been going so long. Well, that's the first time I ever saw one. What in Rival's name do you think they are? Well, there's a question for the ages. No kidding, I was wondering if they had something to do with ICs or whatnot. All I've heard is he's been pouring his fundage into some kind of ritual. Ritual, you say? Probably trying to develop some newfangled magic, right? Slap my bottom. Where did you hear that? One of his goons confessed it at church. Whoa. Ain't a man's confessional supposed to be between him and his parish? I was joking, you Dorcas. See, she called him idiot, and there is probably a decent argument to say, instead of translating baka to idiot over and over literally, you very well might want to translate it into more loving, joking insults, but I think they've gone overboard with that for as many times as she calls him idiot. And then they've changed it to something else. How can I get information? How I get information is a trade secret, which means if you want to hear it, you've got to make a trade. Dang, no friends and family discount? Guess I'll have to wait till payday. You look beat. Want to skedaddle back to the church? Actually, I was just there, had a chat with the abbess. I'm glad to see she's still perky. That's a funny word to use for an old lady. Is everything okay? Hunky dory, especially now that I've talked with you. You saved my bacon so many times over the years. Might as well be more hog than deputy by now. There he goes again, dropping those honeyed words. I'd have to stop lapping them up so easily. Anyway, catch you later, oinky. Okay. Damn, still hurts every time I use it like that. So she hurt her body by not using the gun. Sigh, time to drag myself home. So I guess we now know why they use the guns. I'm home. Oh, Miss Selena's back. Welcome back, Miss Selena. Did y'all behave yourselves while I was gone? We sure did. In fact, we were fighting rich folk as Bunny and Baron. I'm Baron. Look at me. We're gonna tip the scales. So you two caught the Bunny and Baron bug as well. You bet. Everybody loves them. They'll fight for what's right. I'm sure they do. Well, I've got things to discuss with the abbess. Y'all can get back to saving the poor or whatever it was your heroes do. Just don't hurt yourselves. Yes, miss. You here, abbess? Yes, is it over? And there she goes. I'm sorry. No, I couldn't finish the cleaning. You, Selena? See, now that was really weird, because even in the Japanese, they have her lip flap for several seconds when they don't have her say anything, as if the scenes were animated, and then many months later, they had the voice actors and the writing happen, which that really doesn't make any sense. It would only make sense if Shadowverse actually wasn't a Japanese game originally at all, and it was something like a Korean or Chinese game that has been translated to Japanese, which, yeah, a translation of a translation of a translation would kind of explain the writing here. Yeah, I might as well have been fighting the ocean. that wretch's powers engulfed me. Who knows what all horrors she has lurking deep within? It was too much. Was she the one who gave you those burns? No, I got these. I saved. Well, I did it to myself. Ran out of bullets and candy. So the only thing left to ignite was me. You had a rough time of it. I'm sorry, Selena. I thought this job would have been like all the rest. Job's a job. Although this one's, I failed spectacularly. I'm the only one that should be apologizing. Stop being so hard on yourself. Go on and rest now. I'll talk to Vincent. Know when his next assignment's coming? Why are you so eager, child? It'll be here soon enough, sooner than you know, on account of all the commotion over at Icy's. I don't like being stuck twiddling my thumbs. It's called healing. Now go wrestle in that drawer. Pretty sure I have a bottle of charmed salve rolling around in there. Alright, thank you. Pew. What are you? Alright, well, I'm getting a phone call, so I'm gonna pause this recording and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Where were we? What are you? We're having a flashback again. I'm still searching for myself. And as the time is right, pull the trigger. Only then will rapture fall from the clouds. Seems you might get that happy ending after all. And who are you supposed to be? Took the question fresh out of my mouth. What kind of bandit goes around dressed like a nun? See, I wonder if that was totally a pointless flashback. I wonder if the case here is that they're trying to imply that somebody is being manipulated or everybody's being manipulated to bring about the end of the world or do something that the true bad guys want in secret, but I kind of feel like that's not really the case because that's too complicated of a story for the stories we've seen. All the stories have been very, very straightforward and dull, quite frankly, as far as just, oh yeah, the person you think is the bad guy is the bad guy. Only in the Guild Wars was there even a secret bad guy, and it became fairly obvious who that was near the end. Something really noxious has been poisoning the waters upstream. I can feel it. Too many rotten fish have been floating my way. And miser's swimming in the middle of it. No kidding, I was wondering if they had something to do with Icy or whatnot. That boy is fixing to chase down the Titan, ain't he? Miser, can't you see? Even if you could snare him, Icy ain't gonna give you the closure you need. Sigh. I best be getting ready. For something foul this way comes. Yep. I don't know why they really named the characters Ice Chilindrog. Anyways, like even in Japanese it doesn't sound like they are really saying that word. So it seems like a poor decision. More flashbacks. If it's penance you need, then I'll be the one to give it to you. We've always been together, right? Just stop making that face. Sorry, what kind of face was I making? Your dumbest one. Your dumbest one, miser. Idiot. And see, if you were literally to translate that, it would have been idiot. Idiot, miser. And if she was, say, if they were literally translating it to idiot every time, or idiot even, then you would know that that was just the way she talks, and it was almost the cute pet name for miser that she had. but you lose that aspect and that importance when they translate it into different words every time. Hey, all your life you've been rescuing people and taking on their hurt. You saved me many, many times. But your ship can only carry so much. Haven't you suffered enough, miser? You're talking about me like I'm some kind of hero. But that ain't who I am. I've been lying to people my whole life. Couldn't face the shame of the truth that my folks didn't want me. But everybody think I'm an orphan instead. Heroes have to be better than your average person. How do you think the Tans people would feel being saved by a fool who couldn't even win his own mother's love? I completely disagree with this. This is also new conversation. I haven't seen this before as far as I recall. Heroes definitely should be average people, at least to start with. If not even lowly bad guys to start with. That's why I act the part of a goofy deputy. Give people the impression they can trust their local lawmen. You know, justice served with a smile. And that smile, Selena, is my greatest lie of all. It wasn't your fault. You were left alone. You are pure and honest at your core. What rival that made you grow up crooked? All you've been through, folks you've met, they've all left scars on you. You might be bent up, but you didn't deserve it. It'd be funny if Miser turned out to be a puppet of one of the keepers, because you would definitely not have suspected that. You're too kind. I don't want to hear that from you. And honestly, if you establish the pattern that keepers do manipulate the innocent and impressionable, that does put some more nefariousness on the keepers and make the stories a little bit more interesting. I don't want to hear that from you. Thanks for sticking by me all this time. I can't show this side of me to anyone else. No, Miser, you've never let me in. Look at yourself now, shutting me out with your dumb, pearly white lie. Just a habit. Selena, I want to serve the law, and I swear that justice means the world to me. But I'm not sure how I can serve justice and have the weight of my sins hanging over my head like a damn phantom. You've served it. You've served it well thus far. Hide behind your smile. Stay afloat on those lies. Validate yourself. I won't tell no one. But if one day, if it gets to be too much, if the dam crumbles and you start crying and crying, and still you can't wash away what's bearing down on you, come to me and I will. A lot of flashbacks. That's odd that sequence was a flashback because we didn't see it originally. Ah, shoot. When did I fall asleep? Are you awake now? And see, she was bent down, so that almost makes it seem like she was sleeping on her knees. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal a nap on you. Oh, you were well within your rights. How are you feeling? Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and ready to take on the world. And there, she definitely said, "Thank you, sister." And none of that's in the translation. So, what you got in store for me? Not on the move. It seems she plans to topple Ice Chillendreg. And yeah, I still have yet to hear them say anything that sounds like Ice Chillendreg. This all out in the open? simmering under the surface for now. But old resentments are being stoked, and won't be long before rival erupts into open warfare. And which side are we on? Well, Vincent doesn't want to take sides. There we go. I did hear him say Aishundrig. Aishundrig is cunning and foul. If we leave this town under his influence, it'll fester from the inside out. So I go in and clean the rot. Fantastic. Was planning to pay Aishundrig a social call anyway. Make sure he doesn't kill everyone's favorite deputy. Miser's life isn't the only thing at stakes. Skirmishes are sparking left and right, and the gods require you to defuse the situation and fast. By which you mean purge Aishundrig. Can you do it? Ain't that hard. We meet, I put a bullet in his skull before he puts one in mine. Just another target that demands murder. Whoops, did I say murder? I meant purification. I know, Selena. Huh? You don't believe in the divinity. It's my fault. I didn't properly impart their teachings. You accelerate on the winds of gods. You ignite with the passion of worship. They are the source of your power, and I should have made sure you understood that. But when I saw you straying, I sat idle. I simply put my hands together and begged them to bring you back. Now I see it wasn't enough. Abbot, sigh. Selena, when we pray, our eyes should be turned toward heavenwards. But all you look toward is miser. And by saying this now, what do you hope to accomplish? It don't matter what I believe in. When you give me a job, I see it through. And this time, heck, Miser's after the same thing. He's like a big honking guarantee that I'm gonna do real good. And if your paths diverge, then I follow him to the ends of this empty universe. Know what, Abbess? You're right. I don't think anyone's up there. At least nothing greater or more merciful than us. I mean, this whole world's a pit. It's like quicksand. The more you flail, the more the filth sucks you in. But I'm done struggling. I don't give a damn where we live or what's out there. I just want to make sure for one person, one man who means the whole world to me, life and rival ain't an insufferable hell. Selena. But like I said, what does it matter? I best get going. Wish me luck. The protection of the gods is with you. Those are empty words. I'll build my own haven. They definitely are mistranslating heaven to haven multiple times. One last chapter, and we skip the battle. And it doesn't seem like it's going to be particularly even that long. Thank goodness for that. What is that ruckus? Guess Bunny and Baron have got the town riled up. Now only two types of folks would dare defy Aishundrig, I see. Rebels with plenty of backbone or fools with zero brains. Wonder which they are. Makes me wonder which I am. How am I going to go about this? Can't burst in guns blazing. Not unless I want to be target practice for his goons. Coast clear. What I need is information. Every dragon has a soft underbelly. It's kind of funny that they talk about dragons, even though it seems like there are no dragons in this world. But I guess in the real world we talk about dragons and there are no dragons in the world, so that's believable. And Selena, don't let your guard down. You'll have to carry out a grave sentence soon. We've received word that Ices is investing in rather unsavory rituals. If we were going to have this flashback, then why did we see the dialogue in the first place? There. Rituals, huh? Never took Titans to be the worshipping type. Well, let's get looking. Feels like we might get a slight revelation here before the story is done, but probably not much. Could have sworn it was here. It's gone. What you looking for? Something that ain't here? Or mayhap something that was here? Zinni, they bring back this character who we'd mostly forgotten about. Another weirdo, alright. Might as well introduce yourself. My name is Zeshel Winshi. Pleased to finally make your acquaintance. Finally, weird. I'd never heard your name before. But I've heard of you. So he's the assassin for Icy, she's the assassin for Vincent. So, and I guess Bunny and Baron are the assassins for Not. Didn't realize I was famous around these parts. But of course, you're our holy sister Butcher. Whenever the Titan of Order wants some black sheep slaughtered, he sends his word to, of all things, the church, and they send you. That's classified information. Well, I've got quite a pair of ears on me. Can't read them. Do I draw my gun? Now I believe I asked you some question, and it ain't mannerly to ignore them. Why are you here? What are you looking for? Got business with an acquaintance of mine. This is Isendrig's garrison, ain't it? Well, that depends. Is it a forest when all the trees are felled? Is it a garrison when all the soldiers are dead? Huh? Yes, ma'am, wiped clean out. So you'll have to forgive me for being prickly when I ask this next question. Are you here on unfriendly terms? I ain't. Really now. I don't appreciate it when folks lie. Is this the best time to be playing tag? Why not? Well, not Bunny and Baron are all vying for Icy's head on the pike. And much as I adore being around you, I think we both have prior engagements. That's quite the cool head on your shoulders. Been in the killing business a while. Ain't a thing I like to tell new friends, but yeah, you could say I have. Aha. And here I was thinking you'd have to be downright gullible to have faith in the divine, but you're sharp as a tack and deadly as a knife. Those are qualities I like in my friends. I ain't like other folks, see? Well, shall we dance? Why? Whoever needed a reason to break out in a jig. We're merry-making. Sigh. I really don't like pushy men, but I'll bend the rules for you. Seems you know a lot about Icy. Let's see if we can make you squeal. So you enjoy watching people suffer? No, but I will whoop you till you tell me what I want to hear, Cecil. Yep. It feels like we're either going to have this battle or we're going to end the story on this battle. Oh, I do apologize, but I seem to be much better at telling folks what they don't want to hear. And so that would have been a battle, which you would have won as Selena. Aren't you a light stepper? The gods teach you how to prance. And here I believe you church-going types would be too heavy to cut a caper. Then you ought to get out more. What's funny is where Bunny and Baron seem to have infinite bullets, she seems to be very limited in bullets. So she's already shot 2. We don't know how many more she really has. I'm sick and tired of you know-it-all types. Ain't the first time I've been told that. And here you are, ain't learnt nothing. It's a miracle you've survived this long. I think you'll find that death doesn't present much of a learning opportunity for someone like me. You're one of those hotheads thinks they're immortal. One of those mortals are such funny creatures. Always categorizing things, tying them to something familiar, trying to understand them. Why is it? Because you're afeared of the big bad unknown? You think you're special? I know I am. I wasn't made like the rest of you. Sigh. By that you mean they forgot to fashion you a brain? Man, it's hard to keep momentum here. I just want to be done with this. I know a sinner when I see one. You keep wasting my time and I'll need you to pay penance. Sinner, aren't we quite the megalomaniac? You fancy yourself a goddess? In a way, but there's only one man worth my grace, and it ain't you. Ignite, trigger. Haven fire. Very enemy to shout out your attack. You managed to scratch me. What a wonderful skit. And so if it hits him, will it burn him from the inside and actually kill him? Be cleansed. Because he can like infest other people. So will this literally kill him in every iteration? My bullets pack enough firepower to melt an elephant. Of course, scorching a little weasel like you is no problem. They basically have explained the way you would kill this character with her ignition candy bullets that burn you into a pile of nothing. That ignition's real special. Sure cooked my goose. And did I just catch a wish of something sweet? That how you prepare your prey, sprinkle on some sugar? No, don't tell me. I have it all figured out. First, you crank the heat to bone liquefying height. Hot, you melt your sugar, charm them into bullets, and accelerate them from your smoking six-shooter. When the bullet hits the target, boom, it explodes into an ocean of lava. Next thing you know, you've got yourself a nice fondue of flesh. Gross concept. I think I'm gonna puke. I can't get over how fascinating you all are. How am I ever gonna choose a favorite? Stay away, creepy. There's only one thing I want from you, and that's the dirt on Ishindrig's rituals. Well, you should have thought that before you shot. I'm in so much pain I can hardly think, much less speak. That tongue's running pretty smoothly, if you ask me. But the parts of me aching, I didn't even think I had. Didn't even know I had. All I want to do is scream. But I'm nothing if not a good sport. Here's a little tidbit for beating me. The ritual you're wondering about? It's going to remake every last inch of Rival. Now, do you think you can excuse me with someone going on and on about feeling sick? I mean, you sure enjoy watching people decompose. Just making sure you melt completely. I don't want no blood, just the soft smell of baked sugar. Well, all the more reason to get out of your hair, because I don't think I can melt. But let me bring in a feller that is 100% guaranteed capable of dying. And with that, I must bid you a good day. It was a real treat meeting you, Miss Selena. May we cross paths again. And so he just leaves this guy here, and I guess this guy's either going to be shot or what in the world? So he leaves the guy and just lets him die. Fire, my body is burning. Too loud to be an illusion, that's for sure. Did he substitute in another body? Do spells like that even exist? Damn, this is more puzzles than I signed up for. Sigh. Still, best put on your detective hat, Selena. Figure this out fast, because knowing Miser, he's about to do something dumb, suicidal, both. Alright, wake up. I know there's life left in there somewhere. Got a deal for you. Tell me all you know about Ishendrig and I'll end your suffering. Just kill me. Once again, spill the beans and I'll grant you your wish. Until then, I won't lift a finger. What are you gonna do to me? Nothing, if you don't fess up. Look, I ain't a detective, and I ain't good at interrogations. Let's not drag this out, cause this is painful for both of us. That's right, speak. Don't be scared. You're the master of your own fate. And seemingly that is just exactly where the story ends. So we've had two stories here that end fairly abruptly, where the ending for at least Bunny and Baron was something that felt like the complete beginning of a story that will probably wrap up in episode 11 conclusion. Of course, we're in a bad position now where I'm now almost certainly going to spend an hour to 3 hours going through the next episode doing this, and this will probably be in Japanese also, and then we'll spend an hour to 3 hours doing all of the conclusion, which will probably be in Japanese, and at that point I'll be done with all of the solo story for probably a decent amount of time. Frankly, 6 months to a year would probably be the right timing there, because I want to really make sure that all of the dialogue is translated to English, and we certainly are not at that point. At least we weren't for that episode. Anyways, no reason to drag this out. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.